excuse me, right? I mean, that is perfectly a valuable thing. And put your hand up. I mean, in Zoom, it's a little different, but say, excuse me. And
okay.
And I'll tell you what, you're probably talking about someone, is it a very senior or very junior?
I will not give you any more personnel identifiable, okay. Or PII, as we call it.
All right. But here's what I'm thinking. I bet that's someone who's a little bit less experienced, and they're probably doing that because they're nervous. And
I don't think so, no.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think it's a very senior.
May I ask about something about that?
Yeah.
Is it rude if you interrupt them if they're not reading on the chat and like they're not really welcoming questions?
Not at all. I think it's great.
Okay.
And if they're anything like Professor Goldberg, he always welcomes it whenever Caleb or I or other GSI interrupt. So.
Yeah, you're asking if you as a GSI interrupt to say something. Is that what you're asking?
That, but also like as a student, because questions are popping up in the chat and they're not really welcoming questions.
Okay,
so,
no, absolutely. You should do that. You're doing everybody a favor, especially the professor, because the thing is that a lot of professors are just not used to this. Or like I was saying earlier, I was thinking about so many things. What am I gonna do? Which screen am I on? And all these other things. I didn't look at the chat, right? So definitely just say, excuse me. There's a question in the chat that I'm curious about too, or anything like that, all right? Definitely, and I would say, you guys, you should feel comfortable in interrupting. That's why we're here. That's why, I would say, I would be surprised if any Berkeley professor would really give you a hard time for interrupting. That would be pretty uncool. And if they do that, by the way, if you ever have a professor who does something really you think is unreasonable, do this, call them on it. Just say, write them an email and say, I felt badly the way you did this, or, you don't seem to be responsive to questions. Just ask them. They're not gonna give you an F or anything like that. But you can do it in a nice way. Again, like we're talking about the compliment sandwich, give them a compliment, really like this topic, really excited about this class. But I was wondering about how, you're not pausing to for questions. How would you like me to handle that? Okay, and just send them an email.
Okay.
Communicate. And by the way, I tell you how you need to do this and encourage your students to do it with you when you're teaching. But just open the door to communication and you can resolve all these things, okay? So the one other thing, I'll give you one thing, Preston, is that work on your handwriting a little more, because I see you have a pad there, right?
No, it's a mouse.
Oh, you have a mouse, okay, because I thought you had this really fancy, like, it looked like a pad there that you're writing on.
Just play a lot of games now.
Okay. All right. Well, then you did really well if you're writing with a mouse. Okay. And then one other thing is name. So you said your name, and Preston is pretty easy for most of us to pronounce, but the last name is a little complicated, right?
Robin got it, but
Robin. Well, but here's the thing: anticipate that. So how would you, if you're going to say that, you could say, I don't know, how is there an easy way to remember your name?
I usually just type it out phonetically, but other than that, not really. There's no like mnemonic you can make. It doesn't follow English rules. It's just.
Oh, it doesn't? So say it again.
Awadesian.
Okay, think about that, because you might want to find something like something it rhymes with or something like that.
I'm open to suggestions, Professor. All open. If anybody else has any ideas, I'm also open.
Okay, good. I like that, Preston. Thanks for being open. We'll think about that. Aladisian. I like it. All right. So so everyone do that also. Remember, think about your name. If of course it's natural to you, but you realize it may not be to us. And so give your students a way to remember it. Okay. All right. Good. Now we're already at 5 o'clock. So does anybody, you want to take a break right now? Does anybody want to take a little break? We're having too much fun? Let's keep going. How about this? I'll tell you what, I will let you go at 5:30 today. And why don't we, and then we can, but we'll keep going, okay?
Deal. All
right. So,
I can do the timing since I'm going to be compliment sandwiching people.
All right. You're going to be the sandwicher? All right, good. Chris, you're up.
Awesome.
Okay, there you are. Oh, you're the two screen.
Yeah, I'll be
Yes.
using two screens. So give me just a second to get it set up.
Nice,
Can,
nice.
can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so the topic, well, my name, first of all, I'm your GSI, and my name is Chris Landgrebe. And to pronounce my last name, a good way to do it is to use, it's just 2 syllables, and it's Land and then Grebe. Very German. And the topic that I'm going to be presenting today, it actually builds very well on what Preston talked about earlier. I'm going to be explaining how to calculate partial derivatives. So partial derivatives are important when it comes to functions of multiple variables. So partial derivatives. And they're important when it comes to functions of multiple variables. And I think that one of the important things to talk about first is the notations you're going to see. And so if somebody's asking you to do a partial derivative, there's a couple different ways they could write it. They could write it like f sub x of x comma y, if you're dealing with a function of 2 variables. They could also ask you, and this would be, they want you to find with respect to x. And then they could also say df dx. So I think that it might be helpful to start with an example, actually. So an example of a problem like this might be a function of x and y and have 4x squared minus 9xy
30 seconds.
plus 6y cubed. And so if we want to find the partial derivative with respect to x, we could say f sub x, and shorthand would be to not write the xy. And then the trick here is you want to treat any term that doesn't contain an x like it's a constant. So if we looked at this first term, that does contain an x, so we're just going to treat it like normal. So it's 8x. And then the second term here has an x in it, and we're going to treat the y as a constant.
Time.
So we're going to say minus 9y. And then just to finish up, this last term doesn't have any x's, so it would actually not be part of the partial derivative.
Time, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you, Chris. All right, good. Preston, you want to give him a comment?
Yeah. First, props to tackling a much harder version of what I did in the time frame. Difficult to do, and you were almost within time. So I think you could have done it. I did notice a lot of filler words. I used a lot. I know it's not easy, but I think that would have helped with your time, really getting your thoughts across to get to the end point. You were one variable or one term off. All in all, though, but great with the iPad. I mean, good idea. Very clear, very legible. I could easily follow along, unlike my paint scribbles. It wasn't like how are you going from left to right to down. It made sense.
Good. Thank you, Preston. Great. Yeah, no, and you're, Chris, I would also add that the way you described your name, super clear. Really like that. And I like that you added a little bit of color there. You said very German. Okay. So listen, everyone, think about that, right? Because he just told us something about himself. Okay. And that's really helpful too. Okay. It's helpful to know what country you're from, your name is from. And, it's just a little bit more color. Okay. This is where I'm coming from. Okay. Do you notice how we all kind of connected to that? It was a nice moment. And it was him kind of sharing, I'm not just some professor out here, but I'm human. Okay. So I really like that. And I thought whatever pad that, I guess you're using the iPad, is that right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So it gives you a lot of control. It's the iPad Pro, right?
Yeah, I invested in that because of going virtual for my classes and for teaching.
Right. How much does it cost again, approximately?
The new one starts at $1,200. It was a little bit of a splurge, but the iPad models, the Airs start at I think $499, and they have the capability to be able to use an Apple Pencil like this, and it makes it really easy to have legible handwriting. Okay,
good. Again, that's a lot of money, but it could be, the $500 version, may even be used ones available out there. You might want to just think about that if you're teaching. that could give you a big advantage. Okay.
I would also want to
Great.
say on the iPad with the Apple Pencil, like for me, it's a great note-taking tool in general. Like it allowed me to go to take classes and never have to bring paper notes with me ever again.
Definitely.
It's a huge, great investment.
Thank you for saying that, Celine. Actually, I would reinforce that. Once I got one of these, I started using it for all kinds of things, and I find that it's really helpful for reading research papers because you can annotate them, and especially when we're writing a paper in my lab with the students, I'll make notes on there, and then I can just mail it right back to them. And in the past, we used to have these, they'd lose my notes, and then they'd make changes, and I would forget what the notes were. This is a fantastic tool for annotating. And it also allows you to you can keep hundreds, I believe thousands of documents on a standard iPad because it's got gigabytes of memory. So you can just load tons and tons of papers and things on there. So you have them all at your disposal, and you can instantly find it and find the annotated version where all your notes are right there.
And for anybody that already has one, Notability is a good investment. It's an application. I know Professor uses it. It's an application for note taking. A couple out there, but it's like $7.99 one-time payment, and it's really great. That's what I was using here.
Yeah, $7.99. Okay, that is a really good investment. Yeah, it's really, really good. So, Chris, maybe put that in the chat, the name of that Notability. But again, I know that not everybody can afford, so I don't want you to feel at a disadvantage. But there are some other notepads that are available, and so just think about it if you're teaching or doing research. Okay, great. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Julie, also for your comment. I could see why if for some students it might be more difficult. When I think.
What did she say?
Basically, a comment of a simple like downgrading the difficulty, because if it's easy to me because I've been doing them for a decade, but to new freshman students, this may not be so simple.
Oh, okay, that's really nice.
Is that correct, Julie?
Yeah, that was just the comment. It's like a pet peeve of mine as a student when professors say basically anything is like, oh, this is trivial or this is easy or whatever.
I agree with you.
You just said simple like twice in your first sentence or something. So.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
Absolutely, that's a good catch. I didn't pick that up, but you know what? I do a lot of times in papers. The first thing I'm always crossing out is simple, because everybody writes, well, this is a simple this. Don't say that. I mean, it's not simple. Very rarely is it simple. And you're trying to be modest, but it actually comes across as just the opposite. It sounds like you're saying, oh, this is simple for you, but and if someone's a little unclear on it, then you've just made it very unfair to them. They feel like you're calling them kind of an idiot, all right? So I try to avoid that simple and say, in fact, just do the opposite. Say, this might be a little bit tricky, but here's how we do it, okay? That empowers them, because then if they get it, they feel like, oh, they got something that was not so easy, okay?
Oftentimes, I find that people say simple, but they really mean something else. Like they mean important or like fundamental or simple or fundamental to the class or something.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think you just want to use exactly the word.
The right word.
Yeah, and avoid simple or basic or trivial words that can't.
That's great.
Quintessential would be a better word.
Yes.
Quintessential, that's a good one. That's always a good one. And yeah, so here we just found something. So does everybody hear what we're saying? It's the word simple, which I really appreciate that, catching that, because it's a subtle thing. You're not intending it in a negative way at all. You're meaning it as basic, but simple also means like anyone should be. I mean, a lot of people hear that and think obvious. And so they feel bad if they don't get it, and it's simple, but so choose a language. It's really important. That's a really good point. Okay. So what did you call it again, Preston? What was your new word?
My word? Quintessential.
Quintessential.
Calculus concept.
That's good. I like it. I might use that too in my class. All right. Quintessential. All right, Robin. Are you ready to tell us something quintessential?
I'll give it my best shot.
All right. Robin, you're up. Robin Peter.
Can everyone see my Microsoft Paint screen here?
Yes.
I'm also going to be using a mouse. So. and someone's timing it. That's
Oh,
okay.
let me know when you're starting.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Robin. I'm going to be your GSI for today. And can I just get a quick show of virtual hands? Has anyone here ever had a PET scan before, or a PET CT scan? All right, some of you. I hope the rest of you never have the need to have one, but today I'm still going to be trying to give you a little bit of insight to the fundamental concept behind these kinds of scans. So I'd like you to picture a situation with me.
Robin, real quick.
Yeah.
What did you say? A PET what?
A PET scan. It's a kind of medical imaging technique similar to an X-ray, or
Gotcha.
maybe you've had an MRI. So this is the situation we're going to be picturing. I'm going to put a large flat metal box on your desk. Right? It looks something like this. And I'm going to tell you that I've hidden an object inside of it. And I want you to tell me where this object is. And there's only one thing that you know that's important about this object. Every 10 seconds, it's going to fire off 2 bullets in opposite directions. And those are going to dent the metal wherever they hit it. So I'm going to leave you with this box for about 10 minutes. And 10 minutes later, you come back and you see that there's this pattern of denting on the metal. Maybe here it's really kind of screwed up. Here it's relatively untouched. And on this side, it's also going to be
30 seconds.
Versus here. You take a second to think about how you might determine where that object is located. If you're thinking you might be looking for the intersection here, you're exactly right. And that's kind of the fundamental idea behind PET, except that instead of a metal box, we're using a patient. And we're not firing bullets into them, but we are putting a radioactive element inside them that emits gamma rays that we can detect. I hope next time to tell you a little bit more about this in more rigor and with more math. Thank you.
Wow. That was like
timing.
Perfect timing. Okay. Good. Chris, what are you going to say?
Well, first of all, like you said, the timing was right on. The other thing my clarifying question, one thing that you could improve on was I was still a little bit fuzzy until at the end you said PET. And I think that would have been a good way to describe what you were talking about at the beginning. But overall, the drawings were really clear. You explained the ideas in really good detail and kept it from getting jargony or like too high. Like you didn't need to understand too much to understand the idea that you were presenting. So I thought that was great.
Good.
I just
any feedback? I mean,
I just
negative?
have a compliment for you actually, because what my guess improvement was already said, but essentially I really liked how you had the analogy. So you started talking about bullets and then you kind of said, well, instead of bullets, it's going to be this radioactive element that's emitting gamma rays. And I thought that was just like really, really awesome to take something that people may be more familiar with, unfortunately, and then kind of connect it to something that they might be less familiar with.
And just one, professor, to your note, like just one criticism or thing that you could have done a little bit better was I liked how the, like Sasha just said, like the drawing connected really well to your idea and you like brought it full circle at the end, but maybe explaining a little bit at the beginning about why, like motivating why you were showing that example, like maybe even just like a sentence, like a great or a simple example or like a good analogy to what we're talking about can be described by, and then basically what you said.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, great. I really like it too. Robin, very crisp and clear. I think that also the care you took of just drawing that box, and it worked because then you could really visualize it really nicely. Was great, and the example, it was really interesting the way it unfolded because it actually made perfect sense. And analogies are always welcome. by the way, that's another thing is you probably, you know, as Sasha said, it's so great to have analogies because people love them. They just lap it up. And whenever you can do it in your classes and make analogies, your students are going to be so appreciative. And even if it's like totally far-fetched, especially if it has a little humor, they're going to like that. And it's going to help them remember things. So you did that really, really well. My only criticism, you said PET scan, right? And another thing I really liked that you did. Wait, what was it? My criticism is that you said PET, but you never told us what it stood for.
All right. Sure.
All right. So it is important that PET, because you know people might think you're talking about a PET, and a PET scan. You're going to take something at a vet. You know, you go to the vet, but it's actually positive emission tomography. Is that right?
Positron. Yeah.
Positron. Okay, right. There we go. So so again, it's being that's just a little omission, but PET is an acronym, and so just laying that out for everyone. And then my other compliment is I really like the way you asked the question at the beginning. Put your hand up if anybody has ever had a PET scan, right? And that was great because again, you're getting the juices flowing, getting your class to be thinking, and you're conscious of them, and so you're engaging with them. So asking questions, great thing to do, and I encourage you all to do that. Okay, very good. So let's see, Robin and Mackenzie. Where is Mackenzie?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, Mackenzie, you ready to go? We can't see your face though.
Yeah, let me. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Got the time.
Leo. Okay. So I'm Mackenzie, and I'm going to go over today the basic concept of, or not basic, but the important concept of a parallel circuit versus a series circuit. So you may have seen a series circuit. It's kind of the most common circuit. You have a battery, then you may have a couple circuit elements. I drew them as resistors, but they could be capacitors or inductors as well. And then a parallel circuit would look something like this. You'll have a battery, and then the circuit elements, you can see both of the resistors are directly connected to the battery. Whereas in the series circuit, you know, this point is not directly connected to the battery, but for a parallel circuit, both of the ends of the circuit element will be directly connected to the battery. Another difference between these two circuits is in the current. So for a series circuit, the current needs to flow through both circuit elements. This is the current. Whereas for a
3 seconds.
Okay, for a parallel circuit, the current gets split between the two circuit elements. So this is, the parallel circuit is commonly used for household circuitry because even if one circuit element fails, the other one will still receive current. Whereas for a series circuit, you're not that lucky. And so if this circuit element fails, then this circuit element right here will also stop working. Okay. Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say.
Very good. Okay, excellent. All right, Robin?
Nice. I thought your pace was really spot on. You took care with your words and were really clear. Yeah, I mean, the handwriting is also excellent. I might have missed it because I was trying to set up a timer, but I'm not sure if you introduced yourself at the beginning. That maybe could be useful. Yeah, I didn't have too much.
She did the intro.
Oh, okay. I just missed it. Yeah, I mean, looks great to me.
Good. Okay. Yeah. You know, actually, Mackenzie, one interesting thing is, let me just ask you, is your camera broken? I think you said that last time, right?
Yeah, trying to fix it, but I think
Okay.
it'll be fixed by next week.
Okay, no problem. But here's one thing is, your name comes up as just your first name and not your last name. Small thing, but
Oh, okay. Okay.
But like, because here's the thing, I was looking because I'm making notes on the class list, and I couldn't find you, and then I found you, but you were very last one on the list, right? Mackenzie Wooten.
Yeah, so I think on my Zoom, it basically, I don't know, maybe I set the username weird, but I set it as my email. So I always rename myself, but I can next time rename myself to my first and last name.
Yeah, I would just do that because it's, again, for your class, for the benefit of your class, if you're teaching, then you want them to understand how Mackenzie fits in. So that's a small thing, but I think your topic is great, and the way you presented was beautiful. Let me make one suggestion, which is you might want to open up with something like this, like, what I'm going to talk to you about is how should you wire up your house?
Okay,
something like that, right? So, you know, that gives us a context of the whole picture, because as you got to that, but we kind of, if you set that up, and then maybe instead of these resistors, which are fine to you because you know about electric, but maybe make those into little light bulbs.
Okay, yeah.
See what I mean? And then when that light bulb breaks, the whole house goes dark, right? In the first case, right? Versus the second one.
Yeah, I had, this is beyond the class, but I found this like comic that was
great.
exactly what I wanted. But then, yeah, I don't think that it fit with the assignment, so. But yeah, but.
That's good. I like it. I like it. That's a great example.
Yeah.
But see, so look, I'm all for adding humor. I think that's really, really good. And in that case, you could have told us that joke or something, maybe drawn it in some interesting way, but just sort of gotten that joke in there, because that is actually that really is perfect setup. So I really like it. Good. But your drawings are really crystal clear. You put the current in there, I think that was really clear. And I think, what I would encourage, maybe the other thing is to maybe have written series and parallel underneath them, just so they have a really clear which is which and what's going on there.
Okay.
Okay. But
thank you.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, Mackenzie. All right. We're going to Emma next. Emma.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Emma. All right, so Mackenzie's going to comment on your presentation.
Yeah.
And
okay. Let me just share my screen. Cool. Can you guys see all right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So here I start. Hi everyone, my name is Emma, Emma Tao, that's my name. And today we're going to talk about Markov chains. So a Markov chain is a very powerful concept that can help us model how world states change and transition into each other. So for any Markov chain, we need two components. The first component is a set of world states. So as an example, I will draw a simple setup with two world states. One is rainy and the other is not rainy. And the second component of the Markov chain is that we need a couple of transition probabilities from different world states to each other. For example, we can have the probability of the current world state being rainy and the next world state being not rainy to be something like 0.6. And maybe if the current world state is rainy, that the probability it keeps rainy is 0.4. And the important thing here is to note that for each world state, the sum of incoming probabilities or the sum of outcoming probabilities should equal to 1, so that this whole setup is self-contained and no probability is leaking out. And another very special property for Markov chains, and in addition, we can also have some world states coming out from not rainy. A very special property of Markov chains is that it is memoryless. What do I mean by memoryless? Memoryless means that the the probability of arriving at a particular world state only depend on the previous world state. It does not depend on anything previous to that, more earlier than that. For example, if I want to decide the probability of things raining tomorrow, whether it's going to be rainy tomorrow, then I only care about whether it's raining today. I don't care about the weather that's like 10 days before or 20 days before. Those won't affect the probability of it raining tomorrow. So that is Markov chains and the important feature, which is its memorylessness. And that's my, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Emma. Okay, very good. Okay, and let's see, Mackenzie.
Yeah, so I thought that was really good. I think you spoke really clearly, and you're obviously really confident with what you're saying. I did at some points get overwhelmed with the content. So I think what would have been helpful for me, and other people might have not been overwhelmed, but would have helped me was if when you're talking about the probabilities, I thought it would help for me if you introduce the two possible probabilities before you introduce numbers. So you could say, oh, so either it can go from raining to not raining, or it could keep raining. And so that simple phrase would kind of like help me focus on what we're talking about instead of focusing on the particular numbers.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, that was it. I thought that it was really good. I thought you did really good.
Thank you for the feedback.
Good. Yeah, no, and I agree. You're very clear. You said your name really clearly. Your drawing was really nice. I would say here's where you might want to just step back with a little more of an intro, like we said with the house wiring one. You could say something like, it's raining out now and I want to go on a picnic. Okay, so how can I think about what my decision should be, right? And so here's this tool that you can set up to think about modeling that decision and what's going to happen, right? Or something like that, where you just basically give us a little bit of a lead in that we can relate to. Like, it would be really cool to say, hey, I was raining this weekend, right? And here I was trying to figure out what to do, and you know what I'm saying? So immediately everybody gets pulled in because we've all been in that situation.
Yeah,
okay.
That makes sense.
Good, but you're very clear, really helpful, and the memorylessness is very subtle. That's that was hard to tack that on in the last 10 seconds, but I like how you said, I'll tell you more about that in the future. So good. All right. So on that note, I promised I'd let you guys go at 5:30. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to continue this. I hope you agree it's fun. It's kind of interesting. I really want to get through everyone. And that's going to be, we did 6, we just did 8 today. So we're going to pick up the pace next time so we can zip through them a little faster. Okay. But I think this has been so interesting. I really appreciate the care you guys put into these already, which is fantastic. And and that you're having fun with it, which I am too. And let me just go back to the syllabus for one moment here. God, my system keeps losing. I don't know why it loses.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yeah.
So next week, in the next few weeks, we will continue doing the Blackboard thing, right?
Yes. So here's the thing. I'm gonna try and see how far we can get next week. We'll have to make a decision at a certain point. If it's going too slowly, but I want to keep going. And let me do this. Before you guys leave, I'm going to capture the list of who's next. Let's see if I can see that screenshot. Here, wait. I got who's up next? Sam Cabrera, right? Got you up next. Let me grab that. Somebody just moved the cursor.
Oh, my bad. I put my hand down to help. But
okay. No. Just leave everything. Don't add that to that right now, guys. No problem. But I'm just gonna grab this and Wait. Let me do it one more time.
Wait, if you already spoke, should you take your hand down or should you keep your hand up? Because I took my hand down a while back.
No, that's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to capture who had their hand up in what order for next week. So I'll have that. I have, just so you guys know, I have Samuel, Enze, Yuhang, Isaac, Chris, Michael, and going on from there. And I know that some people had their hand up but took it down. So don't worry, we'll get to you.
I'm still on the list as well because I had to.
Pardon?
Am I still on the list? Because I haven't gone yet. Because
No, don't worry. No. That's, believe me, we only did eight of them so far. We got 40 people in this class. Don't worry. We got a lot of time. We got a lot of people that haven't gone yet. So here's what I'd like you to do though. Let me just go back to the syllabus and I do want you to keep working on this because let's give you a quick snapshot of where we're headed. And so we talked about a lot of the things I wanted to do, and we're gonna do a whole, I'll share my screen for a second. We're gonna do at least one, maybe two more sessions just with this. And after that, I'll ask you to record them and then I'll have to look at them offline, but it's much more fun doing them together. The thing I want you to do here is take a look at these faculty videos on teaching if you get a moment, because these are some excellent teachers and they're all linked here. There's videos. So see some really great styles if you're interested. And the homework for this week is I have an early course evaluation here. What I want you to do is if you just click on this, it takes you over and it's just some quick questions I have for you about the class. And just make a copy of that and fill it out and then drop it into B courses. And then skim chapter 6 on lectures and 4.7 on course objectives. And because we're going to talk about course objectives soon.
Didn't we already read chapter 6?
You did, and actually, that's right. It's my mistake. So skim.
Oh, I'm that person.
4.7. You're right. Okay. You're right. I did have that wrong. And this is about course objectives. So I want you to look at that chapter from the book and then choose a course syllabus from any engineering undergrad course. If you're a GSI, use that one, or any other one that you took once that you find online. And then I just want you to spend a little time looking at it and making some notes about strengths and weaknesses. You should be able to do this in 15, 20 minutes. It's not a big assignment. But all I want you to do is just pay attention to syllabus and what you like about it, what you don't like. So just think about it, right? And make some notes on it and then submit that also, okay? So 2 assignments. Sorry? Go ahead.
I wonder if it's okay if it's from a different university.
Oh, yeah. It can be from any university. You can just find it online. You can just search course syllabus, calculus or something and pull it up there. But I just want you to look through a syllabus now with the eye as an instructor. And I want you to talk about a little bit about what you see as good things about that syllabus or bad things about that syllabus. So, feel free. I just want you to pay attention and think about it because writing a syllabus is one of the things we're going to try to get to on week 3. Okay? All right.
Are we submitting this on B courses or?
Yeah. No, everything's going through B courses here.
Got it.
So if we don't have that set up yet, I don't know if ZY is here, but I'll let her know about this. But she'll set this up so that there'll be a place to insert it. Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody. Have a great week. See you next week.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Thank you.